Dr. Khedewi, how legally viable is Iran's unprecedented move to file war crimes charges against American and Israeli leaders at the United Nations? And would they be added to documents already submitted to the United Nations of the Israeli aggression and same humanitarian crimes in Gaza and Lebanon?
Well, let's separate two things: filing a complaint at the United Nations and actually persecuting someone. Those are very different legal tracks. Let's start with the jurisdiction reality, because the International Criminal Court is the body that most people think of when they hear war crimes or war crime charges or crimes against humanity or genocide. But Iran is not a party to the Rome Statute, which is the
Yes.
treaty that organized or that ran the ICC, and it never ratified it. Um, and even though the United States and Israel also didn't ratify and they are not party to the ICC or the International Criminal Court, that means that the ICC has no automatic jurisdiction over the conduct of American nationals on the Iranian soil. So Iran may have four actual legal paths forward, and each have a serious obstacle. The first one would be the Security Council, in which they can ask for the Security Council session to discuss and referral to the ICC. Any member of the Security Council can actually raise this point, but the other side would be, or the other view would be that the United States say or use their veto, and here they block any kind of action in the Security Council. So
But
Iran would.
but 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 here, if I may ask you, there are two valuable uh, part of the law. I mean here, the section that speaks about United for Peace, and
Yes,
the other one that say that the country which is involved in the accusations cannot really raise its veto. There are
well,
two articles speaking about this concern, right?
that's right. That's right. Well, let's start with the one that you mentioned, United for Peace. That happens when there is a deadlock, when the countries in the Security Council still use the veto to object or obstruct any kind of resolution. And this was actually permitted that the General Assembly would take an action and take or issue a recommendation to for whoever is wanting to achieve some kind of justice or take some kind of measures and so on. But who is willing to do this? Is China ready for this? Is Russia ready for this? I don't think that this is going to happen, because the General Assembly would make the recommendation, but who is going to implement this? That's another story. So it would make more moral pressure against the United States, rather effective pressure. And the other point that you mentioned, in practice, Russia has actually used it. It was in the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, and it has voted against this. So in practice, the countries or the members of the Security Council, in specific the permanent members, they don't give up their right of veto when it is coming to their interests. Let me continue with the other passes that the Iranians can go through in terms of legal
Aspects.
procedure. Yeah. Iran could accept the ICC jurisdiction. They are not part of the ICC, but according to Article 12, Paragraph 3 of the ICC statute, it gives the option for a country for one time, if a country that is not ratified the treaty
The
or
Rome
the
statute, yes.
yeah, they can accept the jurisdiction of the ICC over their territory, and this happened exactly with Ukraine. Ukraine did exactly the same thing against Russia, and it opened the door for the ICC investigators and eventually arrest warrants that has been issued by the ICC. So this is Iran's most legally serious option, and it's plausible they pursue it. But even if the ICC opened an investigation, the enforcement requires custody of a suspect. However, any warrant would be largely symbolic, because at the end of the day, we have seen so far some arrest warrants issued by the ICC against the United States, the Israeli Prime Minister, and many others, but not effectively implemented yet. The third option, or the third path for the Iranians, could be the International Court of Justice. But this assumes that the United States say, yes, let's go to the ICJ to settle this dispute, in which we are imagining that both countries, Iran and the United States, accept the jurisdiction of the ICJ, because the ICJ works on this kind of voluntary basis. So parties can go to the court, but they have both accept the jurisdiction first, or both have signed in a treaty that they will accept the jurisdiction of the ICJ. The last one option or pathway for legal procedures could be the universal jurisdiction, as some countries, they allow their domestic courts to prosecute war crimes regardless of where they occurred. And this is what happened in some European countries, in which they opened their courts for whatever actions that happened in Palestine. And we have seen some Israeli officials have faced legal exposures in parts of Europe. So, given the Security Council inability to act because of the veto, and more realistically talking, I think that the Iranians has only option to accept the jurisdiction of the ICC and empower it. So that would give them the opportunity to investigate and put more moral pressure, although it might not be effective in terms of enforcement, but it would put more moral pressure on the United States and Israel and other countries. Of course, this also may apply to the Gulf countries, because the Gulf countries are now suffering from this kind of attacks and so on. They may use this against any country that violates their or commit any kind of war crimes or crimes against humanity and so on.